Beyonce.
Y'all, we love y'all. We want y'all to get it right, at least get it close to right. And obviously it's subjective. Y'all don't gotta clap.
They made their fortune keeping quiet. But what happens when that silence finally shatters? Right now, the streets are buzzing louder than ever about Beyonce and Jay Z. And no, this ain't about chart-topping hits, flashy outfits, or business empires. This time, it's all about betrayal, family secrets, and a truth that could shake the entire Carter kingdom to the core, according to courtroom whispers and explosive legal files. Word is, a judge might have ordered Jay Z to take a DNA test after Ramir Satwa, a 31-year-old man who looks eerily like Hav himself, stepped up, claiming he's the hidden result of a secret affair from the early 90s. And if those test results back up what Ramir's been claiming for years, this mess won't just stop with a name on some paperwork. It could blow up the most guarded marriage in Hollywood. Rumor has it, Queen Bey might already be getting ready to snatch that crown and bounce. Behind closed doors, it's looking like Beyonce's been plotting her exit move, slow and steady, maybe even for years, without anyone catching on. Real estate watchers and private jet trackers have been spotting some eyebrow-raising moves. Solo flights showing up under secret travel codes tied to her crew. Quiet purchases of insane luxury homes in Malibu and Paris. And even bodyguards getting pulled off Jay Z's security squad, according to one longtime member of her protection team. She's been prepping for independence like it's her own Olympic sport.
Me, if I gotta fight for all of us, I will, but I won't let the court systems just walk over me. I won't let Jay Z, I won't let no one just walk over me and tell me something because y'all just saying this. I want the truth. And if we can't go to the Supreme Courts, the regular courts, to find out the truth, what are they here for?
Yeah, all right, we'll get to the legal things that you've been through, the battle.
This ain't just creating space. This is full-on detachment. And let's be real, Beyonce doesn't leave anything up to luck, especially with billions on the line, 3 kids to protect, and one of the most powerful public images in the game. Now, let's talk about symbols. Because with Beyonce, those little details speak louder than any press release. For years, fans have been glued to that IV tattoo on her ring finger, the one that matches Jay's, symbolizing birthdays, anniversaries, and their so-called destiny. Lately, fans have noticed something wild. That famous IV tattoo, gone. Zapped away with lasers, hidden in photos, and now straight up vanished. These days, her left hand just flashes heavy designer ice. No sign of loyalty to the past. And for someone like Beyonce, who controls every little detail, even her captions read like scripture, that disappearing act wasn't by accident. It was a silent funeral. Sure, some folks try to play it off like it's just fashion vibes, but insiders, they're calling it what it really is, a message loud and clear. And hold up, it gets even messier.
So at what age then did you start to question, who your parents could be?
Well, I wouldn't say I started to question it, but I said around like 7, maybe 6. I think it started at 6, and my mom was just telling me that my father wasn't my father, but as a kid, I really...
Multiple sources from deep inside the legal circles tied to this whole Saturn weight situation are whispering about something called a separation simulation. One entertainment lawyer, who's got connections to Rock Nation, says Beyonce's crew kicked off something serious back in 2021, setting up offshore trusts, locking in private housing for her and the kids, and even pulling in a second legal team that's all about family law, not business deals. Yup, straight up divorce prep, not reacting, planning ahead. Looks like Queen Bey wasn't caught off guard by this DNA drama. She might have been quietly preparing for the storm all along. And that brings us back to Ramir. He's not just some headline getting clicks in the gossip blogs. This is a grown man who spent most of his life battling just to get Jay Z to admit the truth. His mom, Wanda, filed affidavits. His guardians fought hard for legal rights. But every time they tried to get justice, doors mysteriously slammed shut.
And she was with a friend. And I guess her and her friend stayed to, after the show, he was doing little signings and little autographs and stuff like that. I guess he wasn't too big, but I guess females, when the show is over, you can sign little autographs and stuff like that, talk to the people who perform. She says
records vanished behind sealed files. courtrooms buried things in technical nonsense. It was one man with no father going head-to-head with a billionaire backed by a legal army. But now, everything's flipping. In the middle of these wild new court filings, someone slipped up. A judge, name still under wraps, has finally ordered Jay Z to take a DNA test. And word is, Beyonce ain't sitting around for excuses anymore. Sources are saying trust in the Carter household is cracked. And it's not just about who Ramir might be. It's about all the lies and cover-ups around it. Turns out Beyonce allegedly knew about the rumors years ago, but only recently found out about the insane legal tricks used to bury the whole thing. And get this.
Saying, so why wouldn't I believe my mom? Like, you know, we could have been settled this, and it only takes a conversation and some words. You know, I'm not a hateful guy. I don't hate anyone. I'm not after nobody. I'm not trying to see no one downfall, but this is just some, you know, some things that just went through court, and they just expected me to just sit there and just take what they were saying.
2 ex-Rock Nation execs and a paralegal tied to the New Jersey case are spilling tea, saying Jay Z's legal team might have handed out favors or even made sneaky deals with court insiders linked to Rock Nation, just to get Ramir's case thrown out on some paperwork technicality. That bombshell ain't hit the headlines yet, but behind the scenes, it's lighting up the music industry's legal circles like wildfire. If even half of this turns out to be real, it's way bigger than just family drama.
10 years ago, they say this was a party for Diddy's son, King Combs, but all the names involved here are huge. Huge. Talking Beyonce, Jay Z, LeBron James. Now, all of those people are just witnesses, according.
We're talking straight up conspiracy level, silencing a kid just to protect a billion-dollar brand. And for Beyonce, who built her whole image around female power, generational healing, and that strong mama energy, this could flip her whole narrative. She wouldn't just be the boss queen anymore. People might start seeing her as a silent partner in the mess. That ain't a good look, especially not for the woman who turned heartbreak into the Lemonade anthem. This quiet vibe, it's starting to feel less like classy strength and more like cold strategy. But here's the thing. You can only stay silent for so long before people start demanding answers. And the awkwardness is showing. Fans peep those strange public appearances. They've been arriving separately to big events, throwing fake smiles without even touching each other. At a family dinner in LA, they sat at opposite sides of the table, PR teams all around them, but barely said a word. And when Beyonce hit up the Jay Z exhibition with Blue Ivy, she showed up in a different car, smiled for the cameras, and dipped before the after party even kicked off.
Took them to some apartment building, and you know, they did what they did in there. You know, talked a little bit, had a good time, party, and I guess you know, I can't fully talk as my mom because I'm not my mom. I'm just telling you guys what she told me. And I honestly just believe it. You know, it's just no.
One of the staffers at that library event said it straight up. She looked like a woman handling business, not a wife showing love to her man. That's the type of crack you don't catch right away until you realize the smiles don't hit the same and the moments feel frozen. Now fans are diving back into old interviews, old lyrics, and past performances, hunting for all the missed clues. People are pointing out that moment at Beyonce's Renaissance movie premiere. Jay Z leaned in for a kiss, and she turned her head just enough to dodge it, making it land on her cheek. Others are eyeing her tour outfits, the classic blues and black swapped out for flashy golds and silvers, rocking heavy diamonds over her wedding ring, and zero shout-outs to Jay Z during her speeches. Even when she dominated award season like a total powerhouse, she gave love to her family, showed mad respect to the fans. But Jay Z, not a single word. All this drama is throwing a giant shadow over Jay Z's own mess. Because while he's busy dodging fresh lawsuits over paternity claims and old skeletons that go from shady behavior to straight up fraud.
Presumably be people who could verify it or say it didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems. You're right. When you mention all those people, they may all have alibis.
Well, Jay Z certainly seems to have one.
Yeah.
So Jay Z has mentioned that he's there with Beyonce, but we know that Jay Z was in New York.
Yes.
The night that it was supposed to be. Now,
the night of King Combs of.
Beyonce looks like she's quietly plotting her escape. Her team's gone full lockdown, shutting down media questions, putting out soft denials about divorce talks, and even dropping some throwback family pics to keep the fans calm. But behind the curtain, it's a whole different show. We've seen these moves before: polished photos, distant public vibes, and a quiet shift in identity. Beyonce Knowles standing on her own, not Mrs. Carter. And for the people wondering if this is just a rough patch, it's deeper than that. One plugged-in source from her Houston circle says Beyonce's already had 2 sit-downs with a top-tier family law attorney, the kind that handles mega-rich, low-drama divorces. That ain't gossip. Those are straight-up calendar bookings. And if this court-ordered DNA test proves what Ramir's been saying since 2010, Beyonce's exit might not just be about her own peace, it could turn political. Because when you're out here repping justice reform and female power, standing silent next to a partner drowning in these kinds of allegations, that might be a risk she's just not willing to take anymore. Let's be real. This ain't just about some DNA results. This is about legacy. Jay Z and Beyonce didn't just tie the knot. They built a whole myth. The Bonnie and Clyde of music, the power couple of all power couples. But now, if these whispers are true, if there's bribes, betrayal, and a kid whose only crime was being born, then their whole empire could be hanging by a thread. This isn't just about one relationship falling apart. It's about their image, their brand, their billion-dollar kingdom.
Older, my mom just continued to say the same thing, and she never changed the name. Like, she always was staying with the same name. I'm like, well, Mom, why? Like, as I got to 16, 17, I'm like, Mom, you've been saying this since I was a kid. So it's like, now my mom never lied to me.
And the fuse might already be burning fast. Because these judge influence rumors, they didn't come from random tabloids. They came from folks who were actually inside those courtrooms. We don't know yet if all of this will explode in public, but if it does, it could flip their entire legacy upside down. And the longer Beyonce's team stays silent, the more people are noticing something way darker than just a marriage gone cold. If this breakup hits the surface, and all signs say it's already cooking behind the scenes, the fallout ain't gonna be about fancy mansions or Instagram pictures. It's gonna be about what gets dragged into the light. What started with one man fighting for his truth might end up exposing a decade's worth of hidden court papers, dodged subpoenas, and names popping up in way too many places at once. Now we're talking about places that are smack in the middle of multiple federal investigations. We dug into Jay Z's Gulfstream flight records using a civil aviation database that private trackers swear by, and what popped up raised some serious eyebrows. One ex-Rock Nation insider confirmed Jay Z's private jet touched down in Miami just days before one of Sean D. Combs' infamous freak-off weekends allegedly went down.
Like, it was never to chase anyone or make anyone feel like, we just trying to come up with a plan to take your money. I don't want your money. That's not what I'm here for. I'm really here to just find the truth out. And it seemed like that was just so hard to do in these courts. Like, these courts.
Another flight log had his jet sitting on the tarmac at Teterboro Airport. Yeah, the same New Jersey airport that flew VIPs straight to D's upstate estate. The spot now being investigated for claims tied to forced misconduct. Why was Jay's jet clocking in at those exact places during those exact wild weekends? Was it just bad timing? Or something way more intentional? And it gets spicier. A former Rock Nation staffer who only spoke on the low out of fear of payback kept it blunt and said, that jet wasn't flying just for fun. People knew where it was going and why. Jay knew exactly what was happening at D's parties. Everyone invited did. That's what insiders are saying loud and clear. You didn't just randomly show up to those wild weekends. And you definitely didn't bring your own crew. You used their team for a reason. And if that's real, this ain't just guilty by association. It's about logistics, cold receipts, and Beyonce's been hip to it for months, maybe even years, according to sources. If that's true, her silence isn't just about keeping herself safe. It's straight up strategy. keeping her distance from a mess that could pull down way more than just a marriage. And let's not forget, Beyoncé's been a master at speaking without words. She don't need interviews. Her moves tell the whole story. Over the years, she's built her own secret code through fashion, body language, and the places she chooses not to be. When she erased that 4 tattoo, it wasn't some random breakup impulse. That Roman numeral was everything. Birthdays, wedding day, the whole Carter fairy tale. Scrubbing it off was no small thing. It was a silent ritual, a farewell. Grief flipped backwards. A private funeral for a marriage the whole world thought was still alive. It didn't just start with this latest drama. Beyoncé's been sending out signals for years, silent alarms through carefully planned transformations. Remember that bold pixie cut back in 2013? Folks brushed it off like a fun little style change. But now, it's looking like the first crack in the armor, the start of something deeper. Stylists close to her camp say it wasn't just a haircut. It was a calculated statement, perfectly timed right after her tour wrapped up. That chop wasn't about switching up the look. It was about shedding old layers, breaking free. The short hair, the disappearing ring, those ice-cold red carpet poses. It wasn't fashion, it was power. Taking back control in a world where even her breathing gets analyzed. When the world twists your words, you let your body do the talking. And lately, her body language is screaming. Look at her Renaissance-era glow-up, glittering, yet distant. Fierce, but guarded. The vibe of a woman owning her power, no longer playing wifey for the cameras. This is Beyoncé, detached, not just from Jay Z, but from the whole perfect couple illusion. Every public sighting since then, same message, loud and clear. She's grieved in silence, ripped up those old vows. And now, she's rebuilding, sharper, tougher, and already halfway out the door. And let's not forget about Ramir, the guy right at the heart of this whole firestorm, who's been saying from the jump all he's ever wanted was the truth. According to court filings and interviews with the media, he hasn't just been blocked from speaking out, he's been straight up targeted. Sources close to the case are saying things got real shady in the months before the latest lawsuit dropped. Ramir got hit with random phone calls, mystery numbers warning him to back off. And get this, at least 2 of those calls were tracked back to digital lines tied to a big shot PR firm in Los Angeles. The exact same crew Beyoncé's team uses when things start getting messy. So let's keep it simple. Why would anyone from Beyoncé's circle need to monitor, or worse, call up, the man claiming to be Jay Z's son? What's the motive here? She's never claimed Ramir, never called his family hers. So why is Beyoncé's crisis team circling around a paternity case filed by someone they call a stranger? Unless that stranger was always closer to her world than any of us were supposed to know. If Beyoncé really had no part in covering things up, why is her name popping up in the metadata of legal emails tied to this case? A former paralegal, who worked briefly with a law firm connected to the drama, said straight up, "We were told, don't mention the singer. Her name stays out of emails." That ain't distance. That's a playbook. That's orchestration. And it gets murkier. Legal watchdogs digging into the court files found all kinds of shady red flags, filings with no timestamps, court dates that somehow disappeared, entire affidavits locked up with zero explanation. Even court staff noticed the weirdness. Multiple clerks in New Jersey suddenly got shuffled around during the same window Ramir's documents supposedly got lost. And one judge, who shows up in both Ramir's case and in random business contracts with Roc Nation, just up and retired in the middle of his term. No big statement, no goodbye, just vanished. If this really is a cover-up, it's not about doing a favor. It's about something way deeper, something they didn't want the world to ever uncover. We're not just dealing with a messy family scandal. This is institutional protection at the highest level, built to shield one of the most powerful couples in pop culture history. A machine that doesn't just guard Jay Z, but works overtime to make sure Beyoncé never has to face questions about what she may have known. Because the conversation has gone way past is Jay Z the father? It's now digging into way more serious territory, legal consequences tied to that birth. Word is, Ramir's mother, Wandle Satterthwaite, was just 16 when she got pregnant. And Jay Z, he was already in his early 20s. If that relationship really happened, especially in a state where the legal age was 17, we're talking about more than paternity. This could spill into criminal charges. And here's the part. Nobody's brave enough to say out loud. If Beyoncé knew about this years ago, if she knew this secret involved a possible statutory issue and still stayed silent, what does that say about everything her brand claims to stand for? Female empowerment, justice, generational healing. People are starting to ask, what's really behind the brand? For years, we've been sold the image of Beyoncé, the ultimate feminist icon, a culture queen, a symbol of female power and generational healing. But now people are asking, how do you line up that image with the possibility that she helped cover for a man, just to protect the billion-dollar empire they built? Is this quiet separation move a bold stand, or just a perfectly timed exit before the truth explodes? Let's not forget, court orders can unlock at any second. Sealed files can crack wide open. And if Ramir finally gets that DNA proof he's been chasing for over 10 years, the game changes overnight. This isn't just about messy gossip. It's about real consequences. Headlines will be just the start. More lawsuits could rain down. Old cases that got dismissed on shady technicalities could suddenly get dragged back into court. And if those sealed court records finally get exposed, oh, it's going to be more than just viral stories. It could bring a whole empire to its knees. We're not just talking about messy love drama anymore. We're talking records, bank transfers, secret memos, maybe even email chains between high-powered lawyers and crisis managers. This ain't just a split. This could be the slow-motion collapse of a dynasty that survived everything, except the truth. But now it's your turn to sound off. What happens if that DNA test comes back and confirms Jay Z's the father? What if the truth isn't just about betrayal, but about something criminal? And what if Beyoncé, the queen of control, the one who built an empire on flawless image, knew about it the whole time and helped hide it behind world tours, perfume ads, and picture-perfect award speeches? Is Beyoncé really making a clean break? Or is she running from a scandal of her own? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear it all. Don't forget to hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. 'Cause this story, it's far from over. If the Carters crumble, it won't be outsiders who take them down. It'll be the secrets they tried to bury. Stay locked in. Stay sharp. And until next time, watch the throne.